Well, cool, man. I definitely gonna make sure I put a little pressure on you for this one. But anybody that's watching as well, trying to get a really big group of Bowl Mania participants going on. So I know you
Ooh,
saw in the Twitter thread. Hopefully, there's a link there, and I'll put it in this one for all those that are watching. Y'all come join the Bowl Mania. The password for that group is it's called 12th Man Bowl Mania. Password horns down. What else could it be? So I'm trying to get a big group in there and let's have some fun. But I heard we got Bobby Taylor in already, so that's pretty cool.
oh dang.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of pressured him last night. I said, hey, I told him and Donovan, hey, I know y'all can recruit, but can you pick bowl games? And we're gonna see what he's made out of. So a
That'll
lot
be
of
funny.
fun. This class seems like it's a really fun class. Like they're interactive on Twitter. They don't really shy away from getting involved with people too. They're just kind of average Joes. So
Yeah.
um, right to kind of start this off with a splash and get your take on Dindy. What did you think about that?
Oh man. Um, I mean that one. I mean, I can't say I didn't see it coming because I knew a little bit before it was going to happen, but
Hmm.
I didn't really believe it would happen until it happened. That was a huge pickup. He's probably one of, if not one of the best defensive linemen in the nation this year. We have we already have a few of them, but having him this year is gonna be big, especially letting him over Oklahoma and making sure we're not gonna be playing him in a few years. But that was just so big. I'm excited to have him. I know he's very excited to be here. Um, yeah,
So he's the guy I think we talked about on this, or at least I've mentioned before, right? His dad is going to be working in College Station, right?
yes, he. I'm pretty sure he's going to be the preacher at the new church in College Station.
Hmm. So that's a really cool tie. It seemed like a early months out, it seemed like it was a no-brainer, honestly. But I guess Oklahoma had something going for them at the time. Not trying to bash them or anything. I know they did, but um, not sure what it was exactly to
Yeah,
that.
I'm pretty sure his parents were OU legacies, and I think that played a big part in it.
Mhm. You sense any animosity from the coaching change there at all?
From OU side,
Well, kind of relaying from his decommitment and then commitment over to us. Not that he's a guy to hold a grudge or anything, but just when you're committed and you're thinking this program is what it is, and I mean I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. I know it caught me by surprise that Lincoln Riley left, but did you kind of think that that's the animosity maybe towards that instability has led to all of those decommitments?
yeah, I definitely do. I know for Dindy, the major reason that he did decommit from Oklahoma was the fact that the coaching staff had changed and everyone that he had ever spoken to at Oklahoma was gone. So with a week till sign day, those relationships really couldn't be formed in the I don't know how to describe it. He couldn't get an authentic relationship with anybody a week out from sign day. I think that was probably the thing that scared him away. Um, and luckily for us, we have guys that have been talking to him for years. So I think that coaching change really was the thread that really needed to be pulled for us to get him.
Who is he closest with on our staff? Elijah or Price?
Um, I believe he's a Price guy, but he definitely talks to Elijah. Um, and I know he knows a lot of our guys that we have on the roster right now, which played a part.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. Can't wait to welcome that guy. I will preface all of this that we're talking about today is out with this early signing day preview. That until it's inked in, I'm not going to quite excel because I just don't like to count those chickens before they hatch, even though that's pretty unlikely. A lot of them, or many of them, if any, would up and flip or decide something different. But there's always a chance, I suppose. So don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be too headstrong here. but I feel pretty confident. So I really wanted to kind of also look at, I mean, it's like so much to talk about, right? I mean, we just passed 300 in the 247 rankings, right?
Yep.
I think we are still third after a recent Alabama commitment, if I'm not mistaken. And we're on the tail, coming up on the tail of Georgia. So definitely a race going on, man. And then if you look at the average ratings, I think we're staying third if you look at the average recruit, rating as well. So if we look, I like to kind of start off. We've got a kicker. Alabama doesn't have a kicker, I think, on their class so far. So that's one thing to note for the viewers as we're going through these, right? So we do have three stars currently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe so.
One of them's a kicker, and his name is I'm gonna butcher this, Mzolski. And then we have an older commitment in Jaden Scarlett, who is a defensive lineman, 3-star guy. And then we just picked up, and I believe it's Naboo. Is that correct?
I say Naboo.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I've been saying as well. And that's a big guy. That's a 6'4", 330-pound guy. What do you think of these three guys? I mean, we probably wouldn't talk so much about the kicker. It's hard to get film on that and those kinds of things. But I have seen Naboo's film, and I'm wondering what you think on him.
Yeah. So on Naboo, he's always been a guy that we liked ever since he came and camped at A&M. Josh Simpson was very high on him and his guys. They liked him right away. They offered him, and it's been hard pursuit ever since. I know towards the end there, no matter what their fans will say, because there was really never any media coverage on Naboo from Texas side, but they called him the day of the commitment. They wanted him to push it back a little bit, as did Michigan, I believe. But I'm a big fan of Naboo. He is a freak. I mean, he's a physical guy, and he'll lay you out. I think he's one of the better players in that state. They have a lot of good offensive line this year. They have Connerly, who's insanely good. They also have Malik Agbo, who I think I'm very close to the Agbo. I love Agbo, but I with Agbo, he's a top 250 guy, 200 guy, and I think Naboo's film is better than his is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of Naboo. And then Scarlett, I'm also a big fan of Scarlett's raw. He has a lot of raw talent.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I wish he played a little bit of higher competition just so we could see what he really has in store. But he is a very impressive guy when it comes to athleticism and the versatility he'll give you on the defensive line.
So let's talk about last year's class for just a second, because we had another 3-star that just. Oh wait, what's happening here? This might be interesting.
What's up?
Oh my gosh, look who it is.
What's up, Hayes?
Hey, I'm making some decommitment edits.
No, don't use any of those, prior, overlays and stuff.
Exactly. Hey, I'm doing it on purpose now because I know what I'm doing. If it makes people, if it makes people mad, just keeps bringing my name up more, keeps my name fresh, more followers for me.
I didn't tell AT I'd invited you, so it's a surprise for him.
For real?
Oh yeah. So we just got started talking about a little bit of the bottom side of A&M's class, but I was kind of getting ready to AT talk about last year's class, which was with Tyreek Chappelle, and we were big on him right from the get-go. I thought, him as a 3-star guy, I was, trying to really rationalize that and figure out why. I'm wondering if Naboo is kind of a similar situation.
Yeah, I definitely think he is. I know out of last class, Tyreek Chappelle was my pick as the most underrated guy in that class. And I know it was between him and I believe it was Casey Seegers, who is now at Liberty. But I liked both of them a lot. Both their tape was very good. before even Chappelle committed to the Aggies, I've been saying he's one of the most underrated DBs in the nation. He was an incredible ball hawk out of Philly. And I know today he made all SEC freshman first team. I'm pretty sure he's getting some national honors as well. So I definitely think there's some similarities in terms of where they're currently ranked and where they should be ranked.
Yeah, Hayes, I don't know if you know too much about that guy. And I was wondering, y'all got the rankings over on 3 now. And I wondered why he would be a 3-star. And if you've got anything to add to that, please do. He looked like a ball hog, just like AT said, and I just could not make heads or tails of why he would be there, except for maybe his size, or maybe he didn't get to camps enough or something. I just I have no idea. But
I'm not sure either.
I think AT, did we just had, was it Noah or Ish Harris that just jumped up to a 4-star?
It was Noah.
It was Noah, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that he got the move on that?
I honestly think he had such an impressive year of film this year. Last year he only played 3 games or 4 at receiver, converting from tight end. I've been saying this year, I'm a big fan of Noah Thomas. He was a little bit of a questionable take earlier in the year just because at the time when we took him, he had only played 3 games as a receiver. When he had played teams like Katy, he kind of went silent. But this year, Noah Thomas has played. I think he averaged like 2 touchdowns a game this year. And he's that guy. And on his film, if you go look, he's a guy that will win every single 50-50 ball. I'm very high on Noah Thomas. And that 4-star has been long deserved.
Yeah, and Aggies know that's something that we need pretty badly, that we've been looking for, somebody that will go win those 50-50s. Yeah, so I've been real high on him. Until he got the 4-star rating, he was kind of my Tyreek Chappelle of this class, but he got that 4-star, so he's going to have to shed that for a little bit. But he definitely deserves that 4-star from what I've seen. Right after that, it's such an interesting class. I've been real big on Martrell Harris as well.
Oh yeah.
He looks pretty raw as well, but man, for 6'2" and 215, he's on the bottom side of the 4-star athlete, but I think we're getting a lot of quality from him. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm also. It sounds like I'm saying this for every guy, but I'm a big fan of Martrell as well. He's one of the lower ranked 4-stars. I believe at one point this year he was the lowest 4-star, which I thought was a little bit of a bad ranking for him. But he suffered a major injury or two. I think last year he missed most of the year with an injury. But he's a guy that he reminds me a lot of Aaron Hansford with how he just times everything correctly and he can get to the quarterback. I'm not sure he's a guy that you drop into coverage as much, but he's going to fill that Hansford role very well. And I think if he's able to build on to his frame, he can be a really good player.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, so kind of giving a little bit more overall picture for the early signing day coming up. What needs do you think that we had, or, when you're trying to complete a class, what things do you think we've fully addressed so far? Or I should say position groups.
I would definitely say receiver. That would probably be the number one class that I feel like has been addressed thus far. Even though we're not losing any receivers this year, unless they're transferring, which I think there will be 1 or 2 guys that will inevitably transfer out. I think going out and getting Evan Stewart was a statement. A&M wasn't considered a factor there for months. And especially reeling him in over Texas, who you're going to be playing in a few years. Taking the number 1 receiver in the nation over your arch rival who you're going to be playing again was pretty big. Chris Marshall, another guy that's 2 spots away from a 5-star. He's an incredible athlete, also very raw. This is only his 2nd or 3rd year playing football. I'm very excited for him. And then we obviously have Noah Thomas. But along with those 3, you also have the shot at a few transfer receivers if you're interested in taking one of them. So that'll be interesting thing to take into account.
Yeah, and in addition to all that, right, Donovan Green and is it Theodore? Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
believe it is Theodore.
Yeah. So Theodore was going to be 2023, right? And then he reclassified to 2022.
Yes, that's correct. He reclassified, I think it was like a month or two ago.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a pretty solid class from guys catching the football, which again, Aggies know this has been kind of a frustrating year. It seems like we were doing the same thing with the receiving core all year long that we were kind of doing for the first 4 games with the offensive line until we kind of found a good match there. But injuries obviously didn't help us throughout the year.
Oh yeah.
What else? What other areas do you think we've already addressed to the fullest?
I'm trying to think of who we got. I'd say if they're able to close on some guys that they're supposed to, I would say corner and safety. While we've had solid production, we never had that number one guy that can shut down Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. If you go out and you get Denver Harris and Deion Boy in one class, I think you've successfully taken in the best defensive back class in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Bryce Henderson and potentially Jacoby Matthews. That'll just be unreal.
Yeah, so bringing up Denver Harris now, I think did Sark go in home with him recently?
Sark?
I think so. Because he's been a long time Longhorn lean. Is that correct?
Yeah, up until up until like the summer, I believe he was considered a pretty hard Longhorn lock, and then it was Alabama, and then it was Texas, and then Alabama. But
now we're kind of trending maybe at least towards a 50-50, it seems like. What do you think?
I think right now A&M's if Denver Harris signs next week, it looks pretty likely it'll be A&M. It had confirmed a week ago some reporters that it was going to be A&M and LSU. But now with LSU losing their longtime Corey Raymond, their cornerback coach, who was an insanely good coach. He produced all those DBs at LSU. With them losing him, I think that just strengthens the Aggies' shot with him, especially with him just saying that it was 50-50 a week ago. You have to think that A&M's holding a pretty good advantage right now.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about the defensive line class so far?
It would be.
Is that like a tooting our horn kind of thing right now?
Oh yeah, I think every single top defensive lineman in the nation has considered A&M. I was looking earlier. I think we've had I don't know exactly the numbers. I think we had 10 of the top 12 defensive linemen in the nation officially visit us, which is insane. And with this close, I mean, I think we get a Nye White, which will be huge. Anthony Lucas, I'm a bit. It's a 50-50 at Alabama. And with Jahad Campbell decommitting from Clemson today, I think A&M's a team to watch there as well. He's a 5-star edge rusher who I think will probably end up as a linebacker because he's a bit of a tweener between the linebacker and edge. But I do think he'll become a linebacker, but I do think the Aggies will land him.
It will be interesting to see. And it looks like we should maybe expect some type of firework this weekend in College Station.
I'm trying to think.
Seems like there's some
it's possible we get something this weekend, but I'm not 100% sure if something's scheduled this weekend. Okay. But it wouldn't shock me because Jimbo schedules those type of things in order to get momentum. So it's something you could probably bet on and maybe get your money back.
Yeah, definitely seems like there's going to be some planning or something going on this weekend with a few folks headed that way that I've seen and been tracking. So do you, speaking of planning, some people have speculated that Walter Nolan's commitment was a bit planned, or maybe it was just one-sided by him a little bit, but do you think there was any purposefulness to that?
Of how he committed? Yeah,
then and timing as well.
I definitely know it was for Walter. I feel like it was definitely planned, but I don't think it was something planned by Jimbo in terms to get momentum. Just because I feel like Walter isn't a guy you want to wait or rush to make a decision. I think that's a guy that you kind of just, hey, when do you want to commit? Oh, you want to commit then? Oh, you commit. But I do know that was the planned date for a few weeks. He planned to go to the middle of the field and commit and do all that. So there was definitely some planning to that, but I'm not exactly sure to what extent.
Surely Chris Marshall knew at the same time, right?
Oh yeah, I think everybody knew.
Yeah. So he recently went to Tennessee. How's he feeling comfortability wise between the two?
I think he's going to stop the Aggie. I haven't had any worries about Tennessee throughout the whole process. I've always thought if he's not going to go to Bama, he's going to be an Aggie. And then once you start treating A&M, I think gives A&M to lose. And for whatever reason, I think Alabama just gave up on the chances of letting him for whatever reason. We'll see what happens here as we close. But if he signs with anyone outside of A&M, I'd be pretty shocked.
Yeah, it seems like he felt really good. I mean, looking at all the celebration that was going on at that field at that time, I mean, there was a number of other people. And after seeing that commitment, I made a prediction probably within that day of somebody else that I thought was going to commit, just hadn't done it yet. But kind of getting to that, what do you think one of our biggest areas of need for this class in particular is offensive line?
I do think this is a class that you probably need to start shooting for the stars a little bit. You got Hunter Erb and PJ Williams already committed, who I like both. I like both of them a lot. I call Hunter Erb the pancake god, because if you look at those highlights, it's just him shoving dudes over and just flattening them. Like there's no life left in those guys after. But I definitely think this is a class that you need to make sure you get your guys. We got Mark Nabeau. We're up to 3 O-line commits, if I'm thinking of it right. I do think we close on Cam Dewberry, who will be a offensive guard at the next level, I believe. And I think right now you're top 2 for both Kelvin Banks and Chianti Goodwin, so you have to like your shot there.
Well, that's it's interesting to hear. We already talked about Evan Stewart. We're talking about Banks now. Chianti Goodwin to me seems like a no nonsense kind of guy. Nolan kind of gives me that same sense as well. I think Goodwin's going to be good wherever he goes. It seems like I kind of would, just for kind of some weird reasons, just because he seems very, very stable, would like to have him on the roster. And so,
yeah. But
okay, so I put him in there, and it's not to slight Banks or anything like that, right? But with all the coaching carousel that's going on, Hayes has been watching that very closely, and then Mario Cristobal moving on, he decommitted, right? And so that put us and I guess Texas firmly in the top 2.
Yeah,
and so
I'd say it's A&M and Texas right now, with teams like LSU and Oklahoma State trying to get in.
And then I guess what this couples in with that I get kind of interested in is with Evan Stewart. Now I've heard Evan Stewart, and I'm sure you're going to know a lot more about this than I am, but he's a big social media guy, and
oh yeah,
for a guy like that, the quick snap judgment is why come to College Station? Why not go to Austin? But I've recently seen some comments from people like Mike Roach where they're kind of silencing the speculation on him going to Austin. So what would possess him not to go somewhere where, he could obviously thrive in that social environment? Not that he can't College Station, but it just, people kind of stereotype that, and couple that with all the NIL stuff that's come out from over there, right? Recently, what would he be thinking as to why he wants to stick with the Aggies?
I think a lot goes into it. I mean, I know I haven't talked to him too much about it. I talked to him a little bit about it. I know he was big on immediate playing time. He wants to be the number 1 guy wherever he goes. He's likely to get that here. Him and Demas would be an insane duo. I know his family loves A&M. I know his mom was really hoping he'd pick A&M over Texas. His mom is a big A&M. She's a big A&M person. After that visit, but I also know that just the stability in College Station is unheard of around a lot of college football. The staff is obviously it has the uninevitable changes every year or so, but places like Austin, you constantly have coaches going in and out, in and out. You have media lines going across all the time, always criticism everywhere. Boosters jumping in, thinking they know what's best for the team. I know just the instability that's going on. Austin has hurt a lot of the recruiting efforts. I know just from talking to their guys. But I think despite how big a city Austin is, College Station just felt a lot like home for Evan. And whether it sounds bad, but I don't mean this in a bad way. He gets a lot more attention here than he would in Austin. There's a lot of things to focus on in Austin. In College Station, it's just football. It's just Aggie football. So he's gonna have a lot of eyes on him, as did Demas. I mean, if you were at the game when Demas had that long 90-yard touchdown or something, that crowd was we were playing to nobody, and it was loud as heck, man. So I think there's a lot of factors that went into that one, but I think he made the right decision.
Yeah, far cry from playing Kansas State at the end of the year, and it was an FCS team, I think. So yeah, maybe is it possible that this guy cares more about football than his Instagrams?
I definitely think he cares about football more than his Instagrams. But it's always funny seeing the. I remember whenever he committed, the night that he committed, I remember going over to one of the Texas sites. You know, I always go over there to see the meltdown and the 5 straight threads about him. It's all about how he should go TikTok dance and all that. It's gonna be hilarious to watch him thrive in the Aggies offense under Connor Weigman and Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, one of the critiques has been that he doesn't really fit in our offense. What do you think about that take?
I mean, truth be told, we haven't produced many receivers. But I think he's the best receiver we've ever had gotten out of high school, and that's not a diss on the Demas. Demas didn't have a 4th year not NIL. Trying to think. The people in Texas, whoever does that, I can't think of the association right now. But them ruling him out for his senior year of high school, he never had a senior year. He was banged up all of his freshman year summer. He really came on at the end of the year. He definitely had a few key drops that kind of hurt us there at the end, but you could definitely see him getting more involved and him kind of realizing his team thing. It's not a me thing. But I just think if we have our number 1 quarterback the entire season, Demas he's killing it. And I think we become a much more desirable spot for receivers. And then we can kind of see who actually fits in this offense. But guys like Evan, who are really fast, they're really fundamental, like Anai Smith, they have thrived in this offense.
Yeah. Yeah. So how about availability? Because there's been a number of guys that you've tossed out as well that seem like they're really, really feasible to get. Is this class limited to 25? What have you heard?
We can take up to 32. Right now we're at 26, but we'll have probably 32 spots. I'm expecting at least 6 more guys into the portal. I don't think we take 32 out of high school. I think we'll probably take 26, 27, 28 out of high school, and then maybe 1 or 2 guys out of the portal that can play right away. And from those that I've talked to, those guys they won't be quarterbacks, but they will be guys that they say, hey, this is the best guy available. He fits what we do. He fits the culture. We'll bring him in. So I'm interested to see who those guys are, but there's definitely, it's getting a little tight on numbers.
Yeah. Coming down the wire. What do you have any speculation on percentage of the current, committed class, not signed, of course, right? None of these guys are signed, that would likely commit this coming Wednesday?
I know there's a few guys. I know like Cam Dewberry's scheduled to commit this week. I'm trying to think who else is committing this Wednesday. Now White will be this upcoming week as well. There'll be a few guys. I think we'll probably get 4 or 5 on the 15th. But I think that like Denver Harris is a guy who could commit then, but also if he doesn't, he's gonna be an early enrollee, so he'll just walk on somewhere. He'll be on campus one day, and that's how we'll know if we got him or not. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm expecting us to have nearly a full class once we get to Thursday or so.
So next Thursday, you think we'll be pretty close to full?
Yeah, we'll probably have 2 or 3 spots because I know Jacoby will wait a bit. Harold Perkins will announce in a second, but I'm not sure if he'll be an early enrollee or not. So we'll see about that.
Mark's effect.
What did he say?
He said Mark's effect. That's one of our Sooner fans who thinks he's recruiting everybody to Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know what to say, but I guess he better get back up on that schooner and head on out there because triage this right now. I got respect for them, and I don't mean to bask in a bit of their turmoil, right? I don't know. I don't know the background that was going on there. I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, AT, and it's something I talked about in my last video, that I think the stability that we offer right now is pretty big. I think it's a real big recruiting tool currently.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely something you can pitch because I know a lot of schools can't really pitch that right now. Teams like, especially in the SEC, we got LSU. They're firing even their best guys. I mean, Raymond, even if he wanted to return, I don't think he had a spot back, and he's one of the best DB coaches. Florida, there's not much stability right there right now. He still hasn't built his staff. And even in the recruiting class, they're losing guys like crazy. And that was something I was kind of shocked to see because I expected them to keep, 1 or 2 other big guys. They've lost all their top guys in that class.
Yeah. So Fisher staying home, turning down 125 million. It seems like it's been reported for 8 years. That's stability if I've ever seen it. That coach is committed. So recruits, you're listening to this. You should be. You probably not. This guy's hanging around. I know we've been looking at whether or not Elko is going to stay around too, because that could have an impact on recruiting. But it seems like that time may be kind of moving by a little bit. You think we're kind of a little bit more in the clear?
I'm honestly not sure. This is the first year I've kind of had anybody telling me what's going on in the carousel. I mean, if you saw, I knew a little bit what was going on with the SNC coaches going, who was going to be promoted. So I was talking to some people about that today. If anything with Elko happens, I'm hoping it's after signing day, but I doubt that'll be the case. I know Virginia had a holdup with Tony Elliott, which is Duke's #1 guy. Their #2 guy, I'm assuming, is Mike Elko. So if you're an Aggie, you're hoping Elliott doesn't sign with Virginia. But I do think if Elko goes anywhere right now, it'll be Duke. Can Aggies pitch him something more than Duke can? I honestly don't know. I think he might be looking for a head coach gig this offseason. But I can definitely see him waiting for another year or two. But if he doesn't get hired anywhere in the next week or so, I definitely think he'll be staying.
Yeah, if he leaves, what kind of impact do you think that might have on our recruiting class?
On our recruiting, the thing is, a lot of he doesn't do as much recruiting as most coaches do. A lot of our defensive recruiting is kind of in the hands of Elijah Robinson, Terry Price, and I mean some of our offensive guys as well. I mean, I know Jimbo is also recruiting a ton of defense. James Collier, our tight ends coach, is recruiting a ton of guys, especially from the state of Florida. And a ton of our assistants like Nick Williams. On the field, the field impact will be pretty big, I think. I don't think our defense will be bad by any terms, but I think you'll definitely feel a little bit of an effect. And maybe we'll see a scheme change depending on who's the next guy. I like the 4-2-5 that we got going on right now, but we'll see. Especially with the defensive lineman you're bringing in right now. You probably want to bring in 5 D linemen as much as you can. So we'll see. But the recruiting trail, it kind of depends. Because if a guy like Elijah Robinson takes over at DC, I think that boosts your recruiting in a way, long term. But I mean, that's one of the things that you won't be able to tell until it happens, just because we don't really see him involved in the recruiting trail. So it kind of just depends on the guy.
Right. And we know Jimbo's staying, which is the corner piece in this whole thing. So they have that to rest on either way. And he's got a good track record for making good hires too. So that's going for him as well. So we know a couple already, and who can you add to the list? Like some people that Aggies have their eyes on are Perkins, and I think last I heard we were at least maybe slightly in the lead, but also now recently we mentioned them earlier. We have our eye on Banks, but they're both planning to sign in February or do some sort of, like you said, early enrollment. Is that correct?
Yes. Kelvin Banks will be February, and then Perkins, I'm not exactly sure. I know he's committing on January 2nd. Typically, when guys do that, they sign early, but I don't think he's given any type of clear answer for that.
Gotcha. Is there anybody else that we can, pretty well rest assured that are going to be waiting past this signing day to next?
Jacoby Matthews will definitely be a February guy. I think he's going to be the guy that, if Harold Perkins doesn't sign, obviously, he might be the number one guy on the defensive side of the ball that we have to finish on going into the February signing day. I'm trying to think who else want to be coming in this week. Shamar Stewart, another guy. He'll be waiting until February as well. He'll be in College Station this weekend, so we'll see how that goes. But he's going to be another guy that you got to finish on, especially with Miami getting Cristobal, and they're coming on strong. He's a guy you got to finish on. He is a college-ready D end, and he can be a game changer. He's a guy you don't want to play him next year, and the year after that, because Zane was playing Miami next year. He's a guy you don't want to play. So those are some guys you kind of got to lock in on once we get past early sign day.
What's the thought process there between not signing this next Wednesday and waiting?
I know a lot of coaches nowadays. If you're split between two really good guys, other than the needs, if it's two guys you feel equally confident about, same position, you're gonna take the guy. If there's one signing in December, one signing in February, you're gonna take the guy signing in December. I think there's a lot of coaches now kind of persuading guys to sign in December, just so they can get that extra few months of coaching and installing that game plan and kind of realizing where does this guy fit in our offense or our defense. I think now it's a lot of the guys that are able. Every time a guy is able to, he'll likely sign in December. I think that's a lot of the guys this class. I think over half of the guys in the top 300 are signing early. And when the guy signs early, that's a huge boost for a program and that kid's development. Especially because they'll be playing in the spring game, they'll get some action, but they'll also be eligible for a lot more scrimmages that they'll have against the team. They'll be able to see more film. They'll be able to build connections that they wouldn't without that when they walk on in the summer. There's definitely a lot more interest in signing early than there was, a year or two ago.
Any NIL playing any role in signing early?
I'm really not sure. I mean, for a lot of these guys, their state that they play football in right now, they don't allow NIL deals when they're in high school. I know we saw the effect of that with Quinn Ewers a year ago. You already kind of seeing it kind of coming back to bite him in the butt a bit. I think as time goes on, we'll definitely see some more go on. We'll definitely see some more guys kind of make early signing choices off of the NIL, but I don't think it'll be too big of a factor.
Yeah, that's an interesting play out, because there's been a lot of these big funds coming out there that are, for linemen. I don't know, some sort of pancake house or something, right? And and a few other things, right? But there's, I'm sure there's maybe some ways around this, but there's this rules specifically to Texas where, you can't use those specifically as promises, for future play. I haven't read into it fully. It was just something that it came up, like I think, touch on a little bit. So, wow. So who, we have 4 5-stars currently, right? We have Nolan, Evan Stewart, we have Wiegman, and I'm missing out on one. Who would I leave out?
Dindy.
I left out Denny, right? Just committed, right? So we got 4 there. I have us at we said earlier we have three stars. So 21 commits. That leaves us with 18 4-star commits, and we know the number that's generally accepted is 16. That you want to have 16 plus, right? And what Alabama's been doing somewhere north of 20 to up to 24, 25, pretty regularly. So we got 19, and 4 of those are 5 stars. What is your prediction on how many 5 stars we end up with?
Ooh. So we got 4 right now. I think we get an who's a borderline 5-star. I think I can count that as another one. Trying to think. I think we get Harold. He's another one. Denver. He's another one. Kelvin. I think I'll add him in just because I think the February signing day, him pushing it back towards it is very favorable for the Aggies, especially with them getting a lot of their top targets out of the way. Texas, he's already their number 1 guy. They don't have any other top guys to be going after right now. A&M has 20 other 5-stars they're going after. So once early sign day passes, they're gonna be able to focus a lot more resources and their materials on Kelvin Banks. And especially if you get guys like Denver Harris and Harold Perkins in the state of Texas, that's immediate appeal. So I'm gonna include him. Just looking at Anthony Lucas is another guy you could put in. I won't put him in just because I'm a little 50-50 on him. Man, there's a few, but we'll probably end up with a good 9 or 10.
9 or 10 5-stars, huh?
It'll be a little tough. It sounds very unrealistic in my head, but when you look at the numbers, it's just hard to say no. That's not possible.
Yeah, I think what you're saying to me kind of mirrors something, we've talked about before, and definitely, I think, mentioned it with Hayes before. There was a lot happening back in August, and you mentioned something relative or that was related earlier. You were talking about how many of these 5-stars have been taking visits, right? They don't all put out an edit every single time they take a visit, but just the sheer traffic that's coming in to Aggie land just seems to be pretty incredible. And, it was pretty evident when Hayes was putting out those edits that, if you look at here, you'll look at there, A&M's on a lot of these. They're over here on these 5-stars, on these high 4-stars. So I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility. What it is somewhat so out of the ordinary that it's almost kind of hard to believe. I mean, we're at 4. I think that will be our record as is. Maybe it saved something from the 80s, but we'll pump the brakes on the 80s for a second, right? So getting into that 5, 6, 7 5-star range is, I mean, way unprecedented and just feels way out of the normal. So but hopefully that is the new normal. So Aggies, we might need to start getting used to it. This is some of the hard work we've been working towards, and we've invested a lot.
Oh yeah,
I
know. I know on the visit thing that you're talking about, I didn't really think about it until you said it, but that's been such a key part of this class, just getting guys on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Shamar Stewart, we were never in that conversation. We got him on campus. It was looking like a UGA LSU battle about a year ago, and now you look at it now, it's going to be it's just A&M. Miami's trying to come on strong, but A&M has looked so good there. Anai White, another guy that you bring on campus as a last-ditch effort to make his top 5. He really likes it. He goes back. He kind of lets it sink in. He comes back, and all of a sudden, you're the leader. Especially with guys like Jacoby Matthews. He was committed to LSU, comes to the summer pool party, decommits immediately to A&M, and now A&M's looking to sign him in February. It's just getting guys on campus and showing them, hey, this is what we got. This is the family. This is our environment. This is what we have for you to. This is what we have. We have this atmosphere. We play in the big leagues. Just the bringing guys in and being able to capitalize on those visits is what has made this class so special.
Okay, so what did it take to convince them to come on campus when they weren't exactly, planning to do that?
I know a lot of it was just the connections because I know Elijah Robinson, he talks to everybody. So a lot of guys, and I know even for myself, I've gone on 2 visits, and the reason I've gone on those visits is just to talk to the certain person. I've gone to talk to Coach Stamps at SMU. I know that's exactly how it is for college athletes. They go these places that they are very close to guys with, which is a lot of the time Elijah Robinson, Terry Price, Coach Saktushi, whoever it is. They go on these visits just to kind of see what it is because we know a coach here. If it happens, it happens. And then they come out of the visit impressed. All of a sudden, you're a major player in the recruitment. So I think it's just a nod towards how good of coaches that we have that can build these relationships.
All right, next question, man. And Hayes, you chime in anytime on especially on all this stuff, man. And this next one, how often are these guys citing NIL as a reason why they're looking at a particular school? Because we've talked about so many things and it's not coming up, it seems like. So how much are they talking about it?
I think it depends on the school and the player. Because I mean, if Alabama is Alabama and they're showing that they have a lot of money stocked in the NIL with a large base that is willing to fund these, it's Alabama. No one's going to turn that down. You're going to be developed. You're going to be playing on a great team, making money to do all that. But when you look over to Austin and you're an O lineman and you say, hey, I'm going to be getting paid $100,000 a year or something crazy like that. It's not as persuasive. So it depends on where you play, what you do, and kind of what the schools are offering you. Because I know at A&M, if you're, let's say, a D lineman right now, we have elite offensive linemen that you can play against every day. We have an elite defensive line coach, 2 of them, and you can play in this amazing atmosphere. And you will get not only an NIL deal, not just one, but you'll probably have multiple. You'll be finding ways to be funded by the fans because we have these events going on 24/7 where they're signing stuff, they're doing all that. I know, especially for me, I'm trying to find a way when I'm doing my podcast to sponsor that and get the money to the athlete. Little things like that will be appealing to these athletes. And I think that's a way that you can win a recruitment over. And I think that's a way that these NIL deals can be a major factor in potentially landing some recruits.
Okay, so that's interesting. Are you conversating with Connor later today, or has that already happened?
I talked to him earlier today about possibly doing episode 1 of the podcast with him.
Oh, okay. I thought the podcast was taking place today. That's coming up then?
It'll be after Christmas sometime. I'm still working on everything. I got a lot of help from my followers. I'm funding all that. Very appreciative of all that. So I'm just working on getting everything in. Waiting on some Christmas presents for all that. But yeah, that should be coming pretty soon. That'll be interesting. But I'm definitely working to kind of help support our athletes when they help me on that.
So can you speak to that and how that, is able to be, helped out?
Yeah. So what I have kind of planned right now is obviously I'll be doing some episodes by myself, or I'll be doing, I have a few things that plan with like followers or buds of mine that I'll do things with like this. But then I'll also try to target some podcast episodes where it's just me and an athlete on the team currently, where he'll come on and we'll kind of talk football, recruitment, what just kind of life. And I'll be looking to get a sponsor per episode, and the money that we make off the sponsor, I'll be giving directly to the player. I'm trying to see exactly how that would work to make sure that would be allowed, kind of see how that would work.
Okay.
but that's just something that I've been wanting to do for a bit, and rewarding our athletes.
Yeah, that's kind of a question I've had, at least in that same range, right? Which is kind of my question has been, what can the average Joe do to help? So anybody that's watching this, and of course, you've said a very wise thing there, right? And making sure that it's basically done in a kosher way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no one would ever want to jeopardize anything for yourself or the athlete. And but people watching, and when that gets out, kind of figured out, maybe there's a way to get the average Joe in, those people that are watching. So I'll definitely be interested to see what you find out there, and if there's any way I could end up doing those kinds of things as well. That's been a big question. I wanted to go to the well, they have one in Fort Worth, where I'm from, and then I think they do it at the Houston Touchdown Club as well. Usually it's during May, and they have a coaches night. That was one of the questions I wanted to go and ask Jimbo. How can the average Joe help out in recruiting? So really interested to hear how those come out.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting, because I know I was kind of thinking about it in my head, but I need to make sure, how can I do this in a safe way that I can also do for each athlete? Because if I did it for just a few and I wasn't able to do it for the others, I feel like that'd be unfair. But at the same time, I don't want to get myself or the athlete in trouble. So I think that's something that we definitely need to kind of research on how to do safely, but also control what we're doing. But yeah, I think that's something that can definitely help reward our guys.
Yeah, and I think that when recruits are looking, though, it might not be able to be done with them, right? They get the benefit, but they do see the benefit that's taking place, and that can be a selling point, I think.
Oh yeah, because I know I'll be doing some with recruits, and I'll have some recruits on the pod at the same time as our players. And I mean I mean, obviously I won't be forcing recruits to watch it, but I'm assuming a few of the guys that follow me will eventually see it, and they'll kind of see how much Aggie Land really cares about their guys and how much we're trying to take care of our guys.
Awesome. We're almost at the end of our time, so want to get at least one more prediction in, and I'm kind of leaning on this number one recruiting class thing. I feel like we're a little bit on the outside looking in. Like I said, as I see it right now, Alabama does not have a kicker on the roster. Maybe they end up getting one. We do. No shame on the guy that we've got on there, right? But when you have that on there, you're looking at it like a 0.80 kind of guy, which brings that down just because. But like you said, we could end up taking 27, 28 guys. I'm not sure Alabama's going to do that. So that could definitely, in the overall points, really skyrocket us up there, especially if things go the way that we think that they could go. And what do you have at your probability? You given odds if you're doing that for A&M having the number one recruiting class?
Man, right now I'm expecting us. The thing with it is A&M has so many of their top guys still out there, still available, leaning towards A&M. Alabama and Georgia, they kind of already hit on most of the top guys. Right now, I think A&M. It might just be because I'm biased or whatever, but I think we have it locked down for this year. Not only this year, but I think we have a really good shot at letting the all-time number one class. And to kind of build on that, I think some of the guys that are going to be key parts to getting that number one class are going to be guys like Denver Harris that earlier in the year you wouldn't have planned into the class, but letting him can get you guys like Jacoby and bring in more guys and add to that unexpected number. Especially just not even looking at the score, but that's also a guy that can come in and play right away, start right away, and potentially build on to the numbers for the years coming, for the guys that he can possibly lure into College Station with his play.
Mm-hmm. All right. Vote of confidence. That's good. I am definitely cautiously optimistic. And next Wednesday is going to be, I feel like, a lot of fun. I may take that day off. I'm not sure.
All I can say is things are getting interesting.
What's that, Hayes?
Things are getting interesting. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
My phone's been going crazy the last couple hours. So I mean, you always know when that happens, a lot of announcements are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Hayes has just been listening to us all day. He's been listening to us for the last hour, giggling in the corner.
How do we sound, Hayes? We sound realistic?
Hey, I got a question that I don't think AT brought it up when y'all were talking about 5 stars. What are you thinking about Anthony Lucas?
Ooh.
Because I don't think you brought him up.
He's a 50-50 ball right now with Alabama in my mind. He's committing on Wednesday as well. I want to say he's looking at A&M, but with the D-line class and we're going against Bama once again, it's just hard to really say he's for sure someone that we can get, that we will get. I'm holding out hope, but he's one of the guys I'm a big fan of. We know a guy like him can thrive in this defense. We saw it with the Marvin Leal, a guy that's very similar. So we'll see.
Hey, when it comes to defensive lineman, athletic-wise, it's him and Dindy 1A and 1B for sure.
Oh, yeah,
in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Dindy,
yeah,
what was your thoughts, Philip, whenever I broke the news on Dindy?
Well, basically at that point, I put the kids to bed as quickly as I could. I kissed the wife and I said, I got to go make a video.
Heck yeah.
You know, I knew it was
right.
That was a possibility, but it still took me by surprise. Just didn't know how closely that was coming. You know, Lincoln Riley moving over, and I saw that he put out his decommitment, and then he listed us as 2, and he was going to reevaluate. I thought it was going to take longer before he came to the decision, so I jumped right on.
Yeah, so he was gonna like he might have not even announced it. Like he might have waited till signing day, but he hit me up and he was like, "This is all on you. You know, you do whatever. If you can finish it tonight, we'll go ahead and post it tonight." I had a good little interview with him. Him and his dad typed a very professional, memo, kind of regarding the situation. Talked about Oklahoma. I'm not sure if you read the article. Did you check out the article I wrote?
I don't think I got to it. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty good article because, we had a pretty good little interview and then mentioned what his dad said, him and his family. It was a really good piece, and huge news for y'all, obviously, get that momentum headed into next Wednesday. So,
yeah, definitely. I'll go check it out right after this then.
It's pretty good. One of my favorites.
Yeah, we were talking about how his dad, is working in town in College Station. So it seemed like it was a match made in heaven, but they were going to Oklahoma. So glad to have him back, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's, 18. Can you see him? Both of y'all, actually. Do y'all see him, maybe competing day 1 for a spot?
Oh, man.
Because when it comes to Oklahoma, he would have started as a freshman. We all know that.
Oh yeah,
he's just not good.
I honestly want to say yes, but at the same time, looking at the chart, I think Fidel Diggs and Donnell Harris will be on the outside. Shamar Turner will be on the inside, of course. McKinley Jackson's an option. There's a few guys. Walter Nolan will be another guy that can take for a spot right away. But with the guys we have, I think you just rotate them. I think he'll definitely be competing right away, but I don't think anyone would be the number 1 guy every single series.
Okay, so AT, when it comes to true freshmen having the chance to start day 1, I know you said Walter Nolan countless times on your Instagram story. Who are some other guys you kind of think would start?
I think Denver Harris would be a guy that would start right away. I think he'd be the best pure corner that we've ever recruited. I think Evan Stewart would be up there as well. Philip, what do you think?
Definitely Evan Stewart. if we get Perkins, I think that is a very real possibility. He could be a day one starter.
Philip, I was telling AT this the other night. I think it was AT or another Indian fan. It does not matter if y'all don't finish number one or finish with the highest ranked class of all time. This by far is the most impressive class that I've ever seen. And I've been doing this since 2015, 2016. So I've kind of been around for it a little bit, and I haven't seen anything like this. I truly haven't.
Are you foreshadowing anything that we're kind of unaware about?
Well, maybe.
I feel sorry for the people who aren't going to end up watching this. I do. Oh man.
It'll be an eventful week, man. It'll be event. It's gonna be rough, man. It's gonna be a little rough on the brain trying to keep track of it all. I know you said you might be taking off work. I got a half day. I've already talked to my teachers about it. I let them know, hey, I gotta get some slack here. So we'll see what happens.
Imagine being me though, having to do all these edits. This is not.
I know good. Hayes was up to like 3 a.m. the other day.
And that's exactly why I was kind of up in that those replies the other night, man, because that, this has been a humbling time for me to be able to do some of these and get a little into it, right? Because the reality is that edit that we're looking at on the screen right now, like you and I talked about this, right? That could have taken anywhere between 45 minutes to 3 hours or maybe even more, right? And these things take a lot of time, and unless somebody's actually in there doing them, they don't really know how much time that takes. Sometimes
exactly
that I'm putting together, it's 4 or 5 hours worth of work, and it yields, sometimes only a 20-minute video, sometimes a little bit more, but it's a lot. And it's like, why criticize if you're not going to put yourself out there? Why not be a little bit more graceful about who you criticize? So it just,
I mean, last class there wasn't this many decommitments heading into the early signing day, because obviously there wasn't many coaching changes. But man, it's a lot of people decommitting, which means there's only going to be more work for me to do. And I only have a week.
And you've been through the upgrade though, right? Are you working on something more powerful now?
Yeah, I'm working on Photoshop. Nice. I still do like part of it on Photoshop and still part of it on my phone. So
okay. Yeah. I'm hoping to level up here pretty soon too. I'm learning Final Cut Pro a little bit right now, and learning to use Streamlabs. I just haven't quite got the device for it just yet, but that's coming soon. Hopefully I'll be rocking with that by the end of the spring semester.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, hey, all right. Well, I appreciate, Hayes, that was a nice take that you had right there. Even if we didn't finish number one, don't finish with the best overall class ever. It's the most impressive class you've ever seen. I'm gonna
fact.
Feel like if I'm playing baseball, I want to end on a good one, and that's a good one to end on.
It's perfect. Perfect little content. Marks effect.
We're gonna have to do this thing with Aiden this one day now that Dindy's switched over, right?
We do. We really do.
Aiden, man. Oh boy.
Now things have calmed down for me a little bit. This has been a rough semester for me. So hopefully things will calm down, and I'll be game for even more. But yeah. Well, hey, wish y'all well in these next 2 days leading up to Wednesday. Hayes, don't lose too much sleep. AT, we'll see. We'll be all up over you on Wednesday, trying to see what's going on.
Yeah, it'll be a little rough.
Hey, are you going to be more? Would you more so be on Twitter that day, Instagram, or do you have them kind of loading together?
I'll be on both. I'll probably be posting the news first on Instagram. Obviously, I'll be doing my little teases and all that on Twitter, and I'll be doing my little booms and all that. But if you want anything, like if you want to know exactly when someone committed, if you don't have their notifications on, my Instagram will be posting it the second they drop it. So
cool. Sweet. All right. Hey, Hayes, I don't know if you heard earlier, you might not have been here earlier, but I got a Bowl Mania group going. You need to get in. I'm going to send you an invite. The password is horns down. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely get in that.
All right.
Send me that.
Yeah. We got Bobby Taylor. AT, I'll see you in there, right?
AT, you better be in there.
I will.
Okay. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. Good catching up with y'all, and we're gonna catch y'all on the flip side.
All righty, man.
All right. Guys.
All right.
Talk to you later.
See you.